Yo, yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back, episode 30. It's time for us to go over the month of May. We had a pretty good episode last time around. Um, of course, ending with the Ass Blast, which no titles changed hands as well. We had some good matches. Our creative finishes and show focus seemed to save us a little bit because I was a bit worried about. Of course, Tiger Jr. was challenging Ernest for the World Heavyweight Championship, which, I mean, to go by history of ratings, it was looking a little shaky, but they pulled through. We had a really good month, to be honest. And of course, with that match with Tiger, we were celebrating our alliance that we founded, which is Unified Wrestling Network. I definitely did not forget. Now, we made it a consortium at the start of last month. We added in all 9 members from literally all corners of the world, which was the idea. And obviously, with it being a consortium, everyone's profits gets put in a pot and then divided out. And let's just say it's gone better than expected. We make almost $60,000. Now, I knew based on some of the companies I brought in, because some of them don't really make money. No one really loses money. But for example, like one or two of the smaller companies and ACPW and ourselves, we all make about the same, between maybe like 5 and 8 thousand. Well, I say I make that. It's been a bit hit and miss this year, and end of last year. But yeah, after the pot got divided amongst all 9, we take away 58,000. Now, I don't really know how it works because we paid money here to the alliance. So I don't really get it. I don't get how it works because um I went and checked on one or two other promotions and they didn't, some of them actually paid more or less than 12,000. So I don't know if it's something to do with the amount of money you would have made or would have lost. But then it also doesn't work out because I crunched the numbers. So I basically didn't take into effect the alliance, and I worked out how much money we made and then took off how much money we lost. And I think if I remember correctly, it says that we would have made $23,000, which also seems wrong because there's no way we go from 4 or 5 to 20 something. Like, it's just no way. It's just not. I don't think we definitely would have made more than 5. I think just because everything's gone up by a nice chunk, especially ticket sales almost 10k, another 3 4k or merchandise. But 26, I think it was 26, 26, 23, some mid 20s anyway. So if that was the case, it's obviously working out very well for us being in the alliance right now. It also means we can potentially upgrade some of our production to a higher level so we don't have as many penalties, which would be good. We'll see how this progresses though, because obviously if we're playing it smart, then you don't really want to be in an alliance if it's taking away how much you would make, if that makes sense. Like for us right now, it's good to be in it because we're nowhere near on our own making this much money every month. So yeah, but production wise, I think we could maybe try and do one, maybe two, because the profits of the alliance are going to soak up a lot of the cost. Where's production? So we are pretty much behind on everything. Um, we're 2 levels behind on music. I think minor licenses after in-house, which of course we are not. We're on, I think, small time or local or something. I think small time. Um, In-house broadcast quality we could do. In live event we could do. Those two are only one up, so let's have a look at them. Live event experience, to upgrade it would be free, but then it would cost 5,000 per show. So that would be 20,000 minus, because we do 4 shows a month. So that's okay, fair enough. So that one's 20. That will cost us about 20, which we could do because if we make roughly, that 50,000, then we're still taking roughly 30,000 profit rather than high 50s. So doable. Or we do broadcast quality, which costs 10,000 up front and then 7,500 per month. So that's definitely over the 20,000. Even once you take that fee away, it's still going to be more than 20. So I think just for the sake of getting less penalties, and it's like a good way for us to progress forward, and we can always downgrade it at any time, I think we upgrade our live event experience, which gives us medium-sized live event crew mixing professional team leaders with amateur helpers, and they work to ensure the fans get basically the best help, showing them to their seats and answering questions. So I think we do it because it's not like we're going to use the money on much else. Although now that we know we're making money, it's a good way for me now to use more people per show, which will rise obviously our worker cost a little bit, but it won't matter. It means more people, we get to use more people more consistently, because before I was trying to mitigate it a little bit. So let's upgrade that. It's one less penalty to worry about right now. We can't do music. That's going to be crazy because we have to upgrade it twice, which would be... wait, hold on. Oh, it's not actually that bad. It's 10,000 per month. Which would have been the cheapest, but wait, what does it go up to? In-house music. Yeah, someone's minor licensed. Hold on, is it free to upgrade? Right, oh no, 250. I kind of want to upgrade it to see what the next level is, how much it is. I imagine it'll be like 20,000 a month. Nah, let's just leave it for now. I don't even want to check it. This is fine. This is okay, and we'll come back and revalue this probably every month. Another piece of news, which is kind of sad, is what's this? I didn't see that first one before. Our referee Dale Kennedy, who's been here since day one, he's leaving. He's handed in his notice, which is a bit of a shame because he's like been here since day one, but he also isn't very good because obviously we brought in Wilson Carlisle. I think he's 74 rated, but we need a new referee now, so I'll need to go hunting after this to get us a new one, which gives us the chance to get a much better one. But yeah, bit of a shame, I guess. But speaking of, Austin Smooth, who works with Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling, it looks like he's left. He's handed in his notice. He's kind of like a staple player for them. I'm surprised he's left because he's been there for years and years. Austin Smooth is one of those guys who's he's very good in the ring, very good fundamentals, but doesn't really have any real performance skills. Although his charisma is 69, and for anyone who doesn't know, if your charisma is rated 66 or above, it gives you a small boost to your performances. I just found that out before recording and thought that was a fitting time to tell it. But yeah, no, he doesn't really have any star quality, which I feel like honestly in this version of the game doesn't really matter. Star quality was huge on TEW 2020, but so far, obviously I'm still very early in, I'm only small, but it doesn't feel as massive of a bonus at the minute. It's more, I think, like charisma, because that comes under everything when it comes to doing angles, like literally everything. Charisma is involved one way or another. I think the only thing it doesn't affect is if someone's being interviewed. I'm sure that's popularity and their mic skills, and that's it. Whereas everything else, even comic relief, character development, non-speaking appearances, I think maybe do they? No, they don't. I have a little short list here. They don't. I'm lying. But yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. So maybe we bring Ernest in. He is over because he worked with Pittsburgh. He's got a lot of pop everywhere in America. 700 per show, which we can afford now. We don't even have to really think about it at the minute. You know what? Let's offer. Oh, I already did. I must have done it last night and forgot. Oops. Oh well, there you go, spoiler. Austin Smooth will be joining the ranks because we definitely need more workers. Not. We have 44 at the minute, which is a bit crazy, but I think, like I mentioned, when we hit medium, we'll trim the fat a little bit. But anyway, after last month, it seems all champs, of course, defended their belts, and we had Hangman. In terms of outside storylines, Hangman's the only thing that's going on where he seems a bit on edge. We're not sure what's going on. We actually still have Tiger. I think he's on a handshake deal. I don't know what we're going to do with him in terms of. I didn't really have a plan to keep him, but he does seem quite good. He would be a good addition, especially to help us get our ratings up. But I'm not really sure. He's not cheap. I think honestly we maybe use him for a little bit longer, and then just change. I think maybe actually I'll change his contract to just for one more month. We'll keep him and use him. But I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure yet. But not too much changes apart from Tiger being added. Jimmy's still in the top 5. Mutant and Architect are definitely falling out now. One thing to notice after last episode though is we have the first person to rise past 52 popularity. Ernest moves up to 53, but from what I could tell off camera, no one else did. So it's the top 5 franchise guys is more or less the same. Nothing else really would have changed in here, I don't think. No, looking at it, it's I love that our showstoppers. Three of our guys in showstoppers are under like 25 years old. Taylor's 24, 25. Tommy's 18, and Jimmy's like 25 too, which is pretty good, obviously. Who's no one. That's good. Hidden Gems looks the same, so nothing to worry about there. Let's have a look at merchandise real quick. We're up to 24%. This is on Rapid too, which I forgot to mention. Papa Swole made us the most money. Oh, Tiger actually made a lot. He's the second most. So we obviously get $800 of that. So that pretty much pays for like 75% of his wages, which is good. Papa Swole, he pays for the wages we pay him. Pretty much pay for themselves, more or less, which is obviously pretty good. And it seems like this just keeps going up, I've noticed, because we upgraded it in March, I believe. Yeah, when it took this big jump to 17, but then it took another like solid jump up. You know, before merchandise was going up here, you know, like maybe by 500, and then being on level 5, it seems to go up in the thousands rather than the hundreds, so hopefully that continues. I'm going to do a little bit of a test. It's the last thing. Don't worry, it's the last little bit of backstage you guys need to know about before we jump into the episode and actually do the shows. For the whole month, I am changing our product. Now, this shouldn't be ticked, obviously. So we don't script our matches or our angles by default, but I'm curious. I feel like playing TEW, I never ever have the matches script so that the guys who are really, really good can shine, essentially. But I feel like it's almost stupid and it's only really pleasing to like 10-20% of our roster. So I'm going to do a little test this month and see what kind of, if anything, drastically changes. And we're actually turning matches on to be scripted and angles. Now, if someone complains that their angle's scripted, I'll obviously turn it off for that specific angle. But by default, I'm turning it on and I'm turning matches on. I don't think you ever really get wrestlers complaining about scripted matches. I wouldn't imagine so, because we have ourselves, Craig Prince is one of our main road agents, and he's like, there's no one better that we have. So Craig Prince scripting the match is like yeah, there's no point in complaining. But we're going to mess around with that and see how it goes. But we don't really have too much more to go over. The recap on last month, like I mentioned, it went pretty well. There was no changes in any of our 3 titles. we are now working towards Belly in the Beast, which is right here, Belly in the Beast. Can we click on it, get a little look here? So this is more themed around, cage matches and that kind of thing, but we'll find more about it as the month goes on. But it is sort of pointed towards a triple threat, even a fatal four-way main event for the heavyweight title, which will be happening. But as for who'll be in that match with Ernest, or what's going to happen for the other belts, how they'll be defended, we'll find out on the shows. But I think that's pretty much it. In fact, no, roster. So we're not going to go over everyone, but I do kind of want to look at one or two people. For example, Hudson, we didn't push him super hard last month, but he has gone up 3 points, so that's good. I do need to start taking a note of this because I want to do this at the start of every episode before we start firing through the shows. We can, go over creative, and some of the guys we try to focus on the month before and push them, see where their pop's at, check out the finances, just little things like that. I can't remember of anyone else that got like a solid push. Although how did the tag champs do? They didn't really fight a whole lot last month, even though they defended. They have gone up. If he's gone up one, then the historian's probably gone up one, who's rated slightly lower, just by one actually. He went up two. Tommy Cornell, our new boy, he's gone up, but we're trying to not let him go up too much because I think having like high charisma and stuff has an effect on it. So if we're not careful and we let Tommy just beat everyone, even if they're on his level in terms of popularity, his popularity is going to just shoot. It's going to go through the roof. And then, like I mentioned, for his attributes, for his personality, he doesn't really like to lose, so he would become a massive pain in my ass very quick. And it's pretty much set in stone that he's going to be a pain in the ass. Probably. Well, he will be, but the longer we can hold off on that, the better. But yeah, I can't think of much more. But going forward, we'll definitely maybe do this little segment at the beginning of every show. I think that's probably best. And I'll make sure to. I feel like the more I'm playing, the more notes and notes and notes I'm taking now on little things. So we'll definitely know who to focus on, who to look at, and stuff. But there's not really anyone else I can think of. I don't think anyone else did rise. We still got Davis Wayne on 52. What's Jimmy on 47? Did he go down? No, he went up. He actually went up one. LA Stars are almost into the 40s too. Kamikaze, he's up 4 points. Ant-Man, who we pushed quite hard, obviously, for his match against Tennessee, the Rumble winner. He's not really jumped up a whole lot, but he is on 30. Which is, he's gone up 15 since January. So, we can't really complain with that. Oh, nice. The Marcus has gone up. So him and Tyrone, they're still doing very good. I don't think we really used them much from March to April. That's why they didn't go up. But I'm really excited to see what we can do with these guys. They are good. Got a bit of star quality about them too. Nate DeMarcus could, for sure, do some work on the mic as well. I feel like as long as microphone's over 60, that's like a good, like, minimum. If it's at least 60, they can get like good enough ratings on the mic. So we'll need to obviously see how that works too. Now that we're doing scripted angles for the whole month, we'll need to be sure to mix it up and use everyone. But Kickoff Carnage 65. Let's run it up. Okay, let's see what pre-show drama we're getting into. I think last Kickoff Carnage was 1,000. We'll see if we hit it again, or what's the deal with that. We'll use them. Boom. Stored. Creative. Wait, Perry Longstaff creative finish? I thought I used that. Maybe we had to. Maybe not. Maybe I'm tripping. Probably. well, we still have these gimmick ideas too. Right. Creative. Finish. No. Yes. And character. Likely. Sure. One more. Bit of a gamble. No. One more. Safe bet. Only to Papa's Wool. Wow. He does not need that. Oh, we don't have enough points. Right. Okay. Calder's now came to me with an idea for enhancing his character. Okay. Hopefully it's good. And we can definitely use it. Blue Dragon was brought before Wrestler's Court, accused of being an hour late to pick up his assigned travel partner. Small positive impact. Okay, that's good. Bowden's been influenced by Austin Smooth. So he is here. Austin Smooth. I mean, it wasn't really a surprise. We went over it when we were doing our man management stuff. So he's here tonight if he gets used. Who knows? Perry gave the locker room a lift. Stevie Stanley Clark really helped create a fun atmosphere. Ah, okay. Karaoke machine. Impromptu. Over the top duet. Training from the architect. Alright, that's good. That's all good stuff. Team bonding will leave because we still have Logan. We actually only have Logan now. The morale for our ref and our play-by-play announcer that they weren't obviously happy about not being on the booking team, that's gone now. And Logan's, I think he's only annoyed at the minute rather than angry. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, let's go ahead and see how our first scripted, completely, well, mostly scripted show goes. I'm very curious. I'm also kind of nervous because if there's a very noticeable difference in a good way, I'm going to be very annoyed at myself that it took me like 3 years in game to finally fucking put on. But let's get our first show of May booked and we'll see. Okay, here we go. First show, fully scripted. Well, pretty much fully scripted. Which I actually started doing myself, and I feel like at the very beginning of the game, I had everything scripted. But I went back on my YouTube videos and tried to see, but I stopped showing my pre-match booking quite early in. But yeah, I don't think we did. I don't think we scripted them. We'll just say we didn't for the sake of it. But we start off pretty strong. The Ant-Man, of course, lost in his challenge for the title after winning the Rumble, or the Battle Royale, the Crowning Glory Battle Royale. He got bested by Tennessee Williams, and he comes out and congratulates him, holds his hands up, and just kind of thanks the fans and of the promotion for being so welcoming. You know, he sort of rose very, very quickly to a bit of a fan favourite. And he's just really happy for, all the opportunities so far. He's just working the crowd, essentially. And it does the job it's meant to. And he's also excited for, the future. It's not like he's leaving and what other opportunities might come his way. Gets the crowd over, show off to a strong start, into our first match, which also gets a 49. The ratings here are looking pretty good, actually. We get Kamikaze with a 49, 44 for the dog bet. We do get decent wrestling. Not much heat. Kamikaze and Verbal Slam defeat Josh Jacobs and Grim and Graham when it's the Doc who gets the final say with the pin on Josh Jacobs with the funky elbow drop. 49 rating, pretty good. There isn't really any crazy weekly links. Obviously Zippy's lagging behind, but that's to be expected. Grim's always lagging behind Graham. Josh is a 43. This is good. This isn't bad. Gets the crowd hotter too, which will only boost the matches going forward. I feel like in your first two segments, you always want to get this message. I'm realizing getting the crowd hotter in the show off to a strong start means you're starting off the show well. So good 3 versus 3. Then we go into the debut. He only gets an adequate for his easy money gimmick, but it's a familiar face to Logan, and not just a familiar face, but a tag team partner. They actually have a chunk of experience from their time spent together at Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling. So Logan, of course, is happy to see Austin after his departure from Pittsburgh, you know, and they're backstage hugging it out, chatting it up, essentially saying, Logan's essentially saying, "Good job on coming. I'm glad you took my advice and joined, and we can even potentially take this place over together. We're even, I'm glad your first match in the promotion is going to be alongside me tonight." And not bad. 56, solid. Bit of a shame on the adequate rating for his easy money gimmick. No pros or cons, which is good because I feel like whenever you get these, it's always bad. You never get good ones, and if you do get good ones, it's always sidelined with bad ones. So adequate's not horrible because if it potentially gets better, it goes into the green. So we won't look into it too much, but we'll see him in action tonight alongside his buddy Logan. Then we move into the number one contender match for the Great Lakes champion. Decent match. Hudson Drake defeats Cobra and Milliford when Hudson pins Cobra with the Hudson Hawk, cementing himself as the next challenger for Tennessee's belt, which of course will be taking place at the end of the month at Belly of the Beast. So this is a really good match, actually. Hudson benefits from having a hot move as well. Good match overall. Cobra with a 55-50 for Hudson, who of course was still trying to get his pop up a little bit, which I'm hoping this number one contender run for this month will help give him another couple popularity points for the month. Miller with a 49, pretty even match, 58 rating, which is really good. Then we move into Pappas Wool. This is the only, out of all our matches and all our segments tonight, this is the only one that's not scripted because Pappas Wool insisted he be able to work without a script. And I said no at first, but then right as I was about to book the show, I realised that he was unhappy. In the booking analysis, he was essentially unhappy that he wasn't able to work without a script. So to avoid any potential morale hits, I took it off, and he's proved me wrong here. Obviously, we do have guys who like to work without a script, but Pappas Wool is definitely one of those guys. I feel like the Dr. Funkenstein would be another one who would like to work without a script, probably. I mean, we'll find out soon enough. But he meets up with Blue Dragon backstage and basically asks him, "Where's Hangman?" And Blue Dragon basically says, Hangman's been acting real weird, obviously, as we all know. He's not really talked to me. I've not seen him since the last show. And we're supposed to have a match tonight, or we were supposed to have a match tonight against the Hot Tags, but he's not here, so the match is cancelled. And I think Logan and Austin Smooth have been sort of brought in last minute. They weren't supposed to be fighting tonight, but now they are. And Papa kind of looks a bit confused, a bit worried. What's going on with Hangman? He's just not turned up. Like, what the hell? 70 rating, huge. And then the match itself that they're talking about, we get a 61. Oh my god. Austin Smooth debuts at a 61. Obviously, we know he already has pop. I think he's in the mid. No, sorry, not the mid. The low 40s, I believe, which is really solid. Hot Tags pulling pretty good ratings too, just under 50 for Wolfie. Logan with a 63. Decent reaction from the crowd. Good wrestling. Smooth and Wolfsbane. They beat the Hot Tags when Austin Smooth submits Wolfie Tag with a smooth hold. So good debut for Austin, and also another potential tag team that we could have on our hands. They're both valued and looked at and rated as individuals rather than an actual unit, because we'll see them in single action a lot. But if there's one thing we already have enough of, is really good tag teams. Our tag team division's so good. Even like the guys like Wolfie who are on the bottom end of it, Like, they pull in really good ratings, and we have a lot of young tag teams. It's really, like, it's kind of taking over slowly. So the fact we can potentially add Austin Smooth and Logan Wolfsbane in there is, like, huge. Like, huge. Great rating, though, 61. We then move into the tag team champions after their very successful but maybe cheated defence last month against Young and Wasted. And they're essentially saying, you know, we don't necessarily feed anyone, obviously. We're feeling a little bit sorry for you guys. So we've decided, through our good nature, that anyone who wants to come out and just prove themselves, because we truly believe that there's no one in the back who can beat us. So if you come out, prove yourself, you know, you'll not only be proving us wrong, but it seems like the manager in the back, you know, Craig Prince in the back, he believes there's lots of talented tag teams here at PWW, but he must be blind because we do not see what he sees. And then the one and only tag team of the year, Minnesota Awesome, they've heard enough, and they come out, and not only do they answer the call of a non-title tag match against tag team champs, but in a bout with great wrestling, decent reaction, Minnesota Awesome beat the tag team champs, the Past Masters, when Perry Longstaff pins Sandman Winks with a double flying elbow, or double flying elbows. Really good ratings here. Almost everyone got a 60. We got a 69 segment rating, my favourite rating number. Perry, great finish was a success. He gets the pin, of course. The storyline advances because Minnesota Awesome have pretty much just cemented themselves as the next number one contenders to the belt, which came at a huge shock to the Past Masters. It almost seems like they weren't ready. You know, their egos were essentially in a way getting too big for their own good. They've been spending way too much time with Architect, thinking they can pull off this crap, and they've been humbled, essentially, by the Minnesota Awesome. Really good match, 69. Minnesota now, we know, it's locked in for Belly and the Beast. Minnesota Awesome versus the Past Masters for the tag team titles. Then we move into the man himself. He's back, Tiger Jr., after losing to Ernest in one of our best matches ever. I think it actually was the best, right? It was a 79, 77, one of the best. Anyway, and he's involved here in another huge match, huge hit, but he takes the loss against Davis. By the way, just as a side note, obviously Tiger Jr. probably will leave soon, but he was not happy to be asked to lose to Davis, and no matter what I did, he essentially, yeah, he wasn't happy. He's not happy, Bunny, but the momentum must keep going on for Davis. You know, he's on fire. As I keep mentioning, I keep glazing him up, and he proves why. He gets the win with submission, 72 rating, 74 segment rating, which will be hard to beat because our main event is what's the word? Not a number one. It's essentially a number one contender for the first person to be entered out of 4 or out of 3, because we have the champ in there, at the World Heavyweight Championship at Belly and the Beast, which will be some form of maybe a cage match, elimination chamber style. So we'll have the first person confirmed on the main event tonight, who'll be joining Ernest to challenge him for his belt. Davis gets a huge win here. We could see him maybe next week or the week after. He might be in with a shout at a number one contender spot. Putting in performances like this, huge. And here it is. Oh yikes, 69. Creative finish was a failure. Oh, if it wasn't for the creative finish, we probably would have gotten a really solid rating. But it's the first spot of 3 is taken, and it's none other than everyone's favourite person to hate, the Architect. He beats Jimmy Chipolata by disqualification. Surprise, surprise, another cheating performance to win. Pulls in a 69. This would have been good, so I'm not going to grumble at 69, because it really, the creative finish kind of messed it up a little bit. I forgot to change that, and I have a note for it too. I'm an idiot. I'll need to make sure I get that done. Hangman and Architect both have steel gimmicks, which is pretty huge that their gimmicks have lasted this long from like day one. Well, not Hangman, he changed gimmicks, right? Because he turned. But anyway, I'm blabbing. We end the show with a promo, but our last match, 69, along with Davis's match, not bad actually. The score tonight should be pretty good, especially we're not getting penalised on our live event, which is one less thing to worry about. 74 for Architect. He's in. He's in the main event. He'll be going up against Ernest and two other people, still to be decided. He's got another chance at Gold Architect, so we already know he's going to do everything he can to make sure he gets that, as he always does. And he ends the show. We're trying to get good use out of his hot catchphrase, which will help with our merchandise, help with him, the ratings. And he's essentially just cutting a promo on his own, what he does best. Surprisingly, he didn't ask for this to be unscripted. So this is a scripted 71 by Architect. His hot catchphrase obviously helps him a lot. He's essentially just getting himself over, doing his thing, talking about him, which he loves to do. That's what he does best. And you know, in the Ernest better watch out, because the Blueprint are coming for that World Heavyweight Championship title. We end with only 3 negatives. We hit a 62, so we're still getting heavily penalised, which is really still affecting our overall, but now with our massive income from our alliance, it's good that we can mark one thing off the list, and we'll, of course, review it at the start of next month, and we can potentially maybe take another one off depending on where we're at. But this is a good show. We did hit 1,000 people on the last Kickoff Carnage show, and now it's went down. So I hope that's not the start of the downfall. Like I mentioned, I am aware people in the community, when I was looking it up, if you run too many events back to back, like we do like one a week, 3 in the month, the attendance starts to go down. And I hope this isn't the start of it. So we'll need to keep an eye on this month. If we get less people next week, which obviously we're about to find out in a sec, then I might need to try and figure out a way to space it out or do something. Because we kind of need to do events. We can't do a TV show. Well, we potentially could do a TV show now because of the alliance money, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. But let's not jump ahead. I'll stop recording here, and I'll be back for Kickoff Carnage 66. We'll be finding out who else will be joining Architect and Ernest in that World Heavyweight Championship match. We of course have the tag team title number 1 contender locked in, Minnesota Awesome, and the number 1 contender for the Great Lakes Championship, Hudson Drake, locked in as well. Oops, I was so eager to jump ahead, I totally forgot to do post-show. So we'll quickly run over that, see what our finances and stuff are looking like. I think for praise-wise, we are going to give it to Logan. We'll give it to Austin for his debut. We're giving it to Logan for morale, Austin for his debut, and we will give it to be honest, for the first week unscripted, we had very consistent 50s, mid 50s, low 60s, so I feel like that's quite good, but we'll see how it affects the bigger boys. Davis pulled in a really good rating, so did Architect. Yeah, we'll see. I'm not really feeling much of a change yet, but yeah, we'll give it to Hudson for his number 1 contender spot. All seemed pleased. Financial report, here we go. So just under 3,000 in profit. We'll use a bit more with the fact now I'm making a bit more money each month. I can use a bit more of the workers and actually use the whole, like almost the whole 2 hours of the event. But we're making money still. It's all good. Popularity up to 42 now. And yep, there we go. So now I'll see you guys at the next Kickoff Carnage show. Okay, it's time. Night off? Nope. Oh, 1,000 are expected, so it's taking a bit of a jump up, which is good. I was getting a bit worried that it was going to start going down already, but 1,046 expected. Or maybe it actually is already an effect of always going down, but because we're gaining pop quite quick, that may actually be why it's gone back up again, and then next show it'll go down if we don't gain pop, if that makes sense. But our first show, all scripted matches. Um, yeah, there wasn't really much of a difference. The only reason I feel like we already didn't have them scripted and I'm losing my mind is because when we had Zombie Boy, he got the penalty because he's scatterbrained, which would mean the matches already were scripted. And obviously, when I showed you guys at the start of the show that we were changing it, it was already ticked, but I think I did that off camera the night before. Anyway, I have no idea at this point. I don't remember. Creative finishes, we do have some. Let's try and maybe get. In fact, no, let's not. Oh wow, these gimmick ideas. We really got to use them. I don't really know what we need. Spend creative energy. I mean, we did. There's no point in not using all this energy, but maybe character idea. Likely to succeed. I mean, I feel like not messing around with them unless they're like really certain. Yeah, let's just leave that. That's 3 for nothing. Let's just do a creative finish. Why not? A near certainty for Jimmy Chipolata. Okay. Let's do an angle idea. A safe bet for Davis. Okay. Let's do one more. Safe bet for Clark. Alright, whatever. That's fine. No energy left. Byron and Blue have been getting on. DeMarcus and Blue had an argument. Okay. Outside the venue. Alright. So Blue Dragon's getting on with someone and not getting on with someone else. He's taking the spotlight today on the pre-show. Address the locker room. Yeah. No, let's not. Well, do we do something else? The only other thing we could do that's sort of worth it would be the rib, but meh, doesn't really seem like it has much of an effect, if ever. So we'll just leave it and get into the show here. See what's going on. Kickoff Carnage show 66, our second of 3 before we go into our main show at the end of the month. Alright, show off to a strong start here. We can't complain. 65 rating. More so we can use Davis Wade's angle idea. Gets the crowd hotter. And he's up in the main event. And he's basically cutting a promo. He's going to be main eventing for a spot in the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship at Belly and the Beast. And tonight it's either him or Papa Swole. So 2 huge hitters in the promotion. 2 very, very heavy hitters. Both have to try to get past each other, which will be a very interesting dynamic, because as much as they've been here since day one, I feel like when it comes to the big one-on-one clashes, we actually haven't saw much of Davis versus Papa. Of course, they've fought each other before, but it's not as much as a common one. So huge match for both of these guys at the end of the show. Then we have him. He's back, Giant Brody. We last saw him speaking with Architect about, Architect was essentially introducing himself, trying to warm him up probably. Architect's always got a plan, and he said he had a job for Giant Brody, and he could make it worth his while, and that was the last we saw of Giant Brody. But this match gets the crowd hotter. He wins, he dominates Stevie Stanley, and single-handed chokeslam finishes off Stevie, just under 7 minutes. He gets a 43 rating, 45 for Stanley, pretty good. All round 42 rating I'll take. We're still getting Giant Brody over. He's only fought a few times since joining. I think he can turn into be a pretty solid worker. I've got some fun ideas for him, potentially. We'll see. And to another singles, 51 now. So even better. Josh Jacobs against Marco with his new and improved gimmick. Still, he's doing really good. He gets another 49, and he also gets the win over Josh with a DDT, winning by pinfall, keeping his momentum strong. Keep boosting the youngster up. Good stuff. 54 with the if we're speaking of youngsters, this is the youngest that it gets. 54 rating, decent match. Hudson Drake defeats Tommy Cornell Jr. by pinfall. Hudson keeping his momentum going strong on the journey to fighting Tennessee Williams at Bailey and the Beast for the Great Lakes belt. Hudson also benefits from having a hot new move. I mean, yeah, 54 solid here. Really good ratings. 53 for the winner, Hudson, which is, we keep boosting him up. It'll shape up to be a really good Great Lakes match, I think, against Tennessee. Speaking of, we have a concert, which is essentially a very over the top Tennessee Williams intro because he's also fighting tonight. So, Hudson got the job done and got the win, and now it's passed over to the champ to also show what he's got. He brings out his guitar, as always, singing some of his favourite blues tunes to the crowd. Some he's made up, some old classics, 75 rating, huge, working the crowd. The champ proving why he's the champ. This is also the first, obviously, champion of the Great Lakes title we've had in like the quote-unquote new era, like the new disposition for the belt, so it'll be interesting to see if it starts to change hands much more often or not. Guess we'll see. I think he's on his third or fourth defence. The most defences ever of the Great Lakes champion is 8, and it was Davis, the very first person to hold it. That was when he was on his tear on the first year and won Fighter of the Year. But let's see if his match can do as good as the segment. Pretty good. Match of the night so far. Tennessee Williams defeats Miller Ford. It does say here by count out, but I don't think you can actually change this. But essentially he wins by doing his classic, which is smashing the guitar over his opponent's face when the ref's not looking. And that's the fate that Miller received tonight. So he's cheated to get the win. But we all know Tennessee, anything to win. 65 rating too. Really good actually. Very solid. Miller hits a 46. Who of course we know to be a very good worker. Miller. He is solid. Pretty consistent. But 64 rating, huge win. Tennessee answers straight back from Hudson's earlier win against the young star, Tommy Cornell Jr. into a 59. Someone Tennessee knows very well. It's this year's Crowning Glory Battle Royale winner, Ant-Man, which was a shame he couldn't capitalise on that. Tennessee did very well in that tables match to beat him. And he actually, speaking of getting back on good momentum, it wasn't to be tonight because he's lost to Ant-Man in 12 minutes by pinfall. Ozzy Goldstein using underhanded tactics though to get the win. So a lot of lying and, well, not lying, but sort of cheating. I was going to say lie, cheat and steal, but a lot of cheating tonight from our heels. Ozzy was off his game, but I guess to counterbalance it, he's getting better at his gimmick, which I believe was adequate. And every time you get this notice, I think it's pretty much gone up, which means if that is the case, his rating should now be very good on his gimmick rather than adequate, which is a bonus. He should wait, he got a bonus for a great gimmick. Maybe he didn't get adequate then. Maybe it was very good and now it's great. I don't know. We've debuted too many people recently. The more I think about it, actually, I think he did get a good rating. It was someone else who didn't get a good rating. Or Tommy, I think. Tommy Cornell Jr. might have been adequate. Yeah, I think I might be right. But a 60 for Ant-Man, huge. It's a shame Ozzy was off his game. I wonder what he probably would have gotten way better. He was really off his game too. But 59 rating is still really good. It probably would have gotten match of the night so far if it wasn't for Ozzy's off game, but even though he was really off his game, he still gets the win. Underhanded tactics, of course, but nonetheless, the win's the win. That's all that matters. Into a 55. It's the number one contenders for the tag team belts. This is I thought this would have actually gotten better, a better rating, but it's the number one contenders in a great wrestling match, decent reaction. They draw with DeMarcus and Gray when the match descended into chaos after the tag team champs came down and became involved, essentially turning the match array. It goes crazy. They come in to attack the number one contenders, obviously very, very pissed that they lost last week to Minnesota Awesome to pretty much give them a fast track ticket to fight for the belts. Pretty solid ratings. Nate DeMarcus pulls in a 56 too. We're into the 50s now for DeMarcus and Gray. Perry with a 58, 65 for Clarkey. I'm surprised this got a 55. Maybe it was because I actually don't know. I feel like on another day or maybe positioned differently on the card, this would have been way higher. This would have been like low to mid 60s. If it's obviously carried by Clark, getting a 65. But nonetheless, it's still 55, can't complain. Is then obviously, with everything descending in the ring, they brawl for a little bit, but then it looks like Minnesota Awesome are just starting to get the upper hand, and when that happens, the members of the Blueprint past masters do what the Blueprint faction do best, and that's retreat when things aren't in their favour. And we just ran a little angle for it, just because Clark had that angle idea, which was a success. We get a 53 rating for that. They're essentially staring down the past masters. We just didn't involve the past masters in it, but they're basically there, staring them down in the ring as the past masters are kind of laughing and retreating back up the ramp towards the back. And then next up, I believe it's main event time. The big one. Like I said, two of our heavy hitters, Davis, Wayne, and Papa Swole. Hopefully we can pull in a good rating here. Yep, 72. Creative finish was a success. Superb wrestling, great heat. Papa Swole defeats Davis Wayne Newton, which is a shock. Both are actually doing really good, but Davis is on like crazy hot momentum. So for him to miss out on this Belly and the Beast fatal 4-way cage match is huge. And it's by disqualification. Which it's not. It's not, by the way. Essentially, he's back all of a sudden. He's not been gone for long, but the Hangman, halfway through the match or near the end, comes down to the ring. No one really knows like what the hell he's doing. Why is he coming out? And he's kind of almost looking on edge. And then when the ref isn't looking, and Papa Swole's like essentially defeated at this point. You know, it's starting, the tide's starting to go in Davis's favour. It looks inevitable that in the next minute or two, Davis is about to win. And then running big boot and choke slam. Hangman hits on Davis, and Papa's too like out of it. And then Hangman basically helps him, drags him over Davis to get the pin, and essentially win the match for Papa Swole. But then, as you know, Papa isn't one for cheating and underhanded, dirty tactics. So when he comes through to his senses, 72, really good as well. He basically starts arguing and going back and forth with Hangman, you know, telling him, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And Hangman is saying to him, you know, I'm trying to be better. I know I've messed up a little bit recently, so I'm trying to do better by you and Blue. I was trying to help you win to get back on top, but get back to that opportunity to fight for the belt. And Papa Swole is pushing him and shoving him, basically saying, this isn't the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it on my terms, not on yours. I didn't want help. And Hangman says, you know, you needed that. You needed help. And Papa Swole storms up the ramp and is basically like, you know, don't talk to me. What the hell, man? What the hell are you doing? Why would you do that? And Hangman just left there hanging, literally hanging in the ring, all by himself. Actually, huge rating. We ended the show really well here. 272s to end it. Huge rating for Tennessee on his concert gimmick as well. The matches were all actually pretty solid. I do argue on another day, Aussie and Ant would have been in the 60s, and Minnesota Awesome and Demarcus. Oh, you know what's happened, I bet? It's been penalised, obviously, because it wasn't like a clean finish. It went. It was like a sports entertainment, and that I think actually penalises the match quite a lot, so that'll be why. Otherwise, this would have been in the 60s too, but there's no point in being too critical over the ratings because I think 70% of our overall show rating is made up by the main event, and obviously with being penalised right now, if the main event is a hit, then that's kind of the main thing. As you can see with the 72 and lots of high 50s, low 60s, well, mainly, we hit a 62 rating. Still getting penalised. But yeah, this was actually a really good show. We're going to give this to Tennessee. We'll give it to. I think Ant Man's a good shout, and we'll also give it to Tommy Cornell. Why not? He's doing some good stuff. All seemed pleased. Financially, we made 6,000. We actually used way less on our workers this show. I think it was a bit of a shorter show. I think in terms of the workers we used. But yeah, good stuff. Our pop does go up to 43. Is that went up by 2 points in 1 month again? I'm so bad. You guys will know because if you've been watching, obviously, but I obviously take quite a lot of breaks in between each show and do stuff backstage or just I'm not playing essentially. But I swear it must be because we always go up a pop on the first show of the month and I don't remember missing it. So we've gone up 2 points again in 1 month. From 2 shows, 2 points, which I believe was last episode that also happened, or it was the month before. But I'll take it. I ain't going to complain. Let's move on to the go home show, essentially, our third kickoff show of the month before we get into Belly of the Beast or Belly in the Beast. Is it Belly? What's that actually called? This is so bad. I'm the guy who made it and created it, and I forgot. Belly of the Beast, right? Okay, let's. Okay, it's showtime. Last show before we get into Belly and the Beast. We have one more spot left in the Fatal 4-Way main event for our World Heavyweight Championship, which we will find out tonight. No one gets the night off, of course. Expecting 1,000 fans, that's good. Sticking with the being consistent on that one. Wrestle World, as always. Team booking, okay, let me get a look here. So gimmick ideas are still good. They do not expire anytime soon and they will be getting used pretty soon. We got some creative finishes, a character idea, and a bit of a gamble. So we need ideally another. It's always creative finishes, really, isn't it? No. Come on. A bit of a gamble again. Fine, keep that one. Near certainty, perfect. That'll do for now, I think. Although we do have more. Maybe we try one more and do a character idea. A bit of a gamble, right? Sure. Character idea. Oops, I didn't click yes. Nice, okay, that works. Oh, Hammer is turned up. Crispy light. No, go away, Hammer. We don't want you here. I believe I checked your personality before and it wasn't great. Nate and Architect him getting on well. That's really good. It's always funny to see Architects actually a huge positive influence backstage, considering he's portrayed in the ring as such an asshole. It's quite funny to me. Jules and Marco have been getting on okay. Hangman and Blue Dragon. That's the second time they've had a blazing argument, and I don't know. It's like, what the hell, guys? Get it together. You're a team. It's kind of funny. It's almost like they're not breaking kayfabe because at the minute, obviously, there's a lot of questions over Hangman and their tag team. It's not falling apart, but it's like it's on the ropes, and it seems like their actual relationship backstage is on the ropes. So it's kind of funny to me. It's like, what's the chances? Calder's came to me with an idea for a creative finish. Okay, if it's good, then I'll be sure to use it. Architect came for an idea for enhancing his character. Okay. Grimm's passing on tips to Bowden Snip. And Architect pre-show training drills for 8 students. Okay, there's even more. LA Star 1. Okay, hilarious road stories. Nice. I mean, we did have the argument with Hangman and Dragon, but it's not to worry. They're just keeping kayfabe. It's fine. They're just they're really committed to their rules. I don't think we do anything here. We're almost at the point where we've sort of shoveled over any morale issues, but we're not quite there, but we are getting closer, step by step. But anyway, we're done. Pretty good pre-show. We had a lot on the locker room incidents today, which is the first for a while. But let's get into this show here. Last one before we hit Belly and the Beast. Okay, that took longer than I thought. This is definitely probably the longest Kickoff Carnage show I've done in a while. And just I don't know why I'm telling you that, guys, this, because I've been playing now. How long have I been playing? Probably at least 50 hours of game time. And I've only now somehow, maybe I knew before, but I've only now just realised in the angle management, when you're booking angles or segments, whatever you want to go by, you can click the drop down and actually change more specifics in the middle section. So I didn't know you can actually change it from being live to pre-taped, or you can change it to be like specifically not rated but angled at something else, so it could be foreshadowing or an actual interview. So this whole time I've never ever changed that. It's always been on generic or standard or whatever, even though I've been doing interview segments or backstage segments. It's meant to be interviews and this and that, and I've never ever changed any of it ever. And I feel like I've just started playing the game. I can't believe it. It's so embarrassing. I wonder if we'll actually see a difference in our segments going forward now that I've noticed. Probably not, I imagine, but I don't really know. We are, of course, still running all our shows for the month unscripted as well as the angles. So anyway, we're starting the show off strong. It's the champ. He's here tonight. Ernest. It's a backstage interview, 65 rating, gets the show off to a good start, gets the crowd hotter, and he's essentially just announcing he's only here tonight to essentially scope out his potential contenders that he'll be up against next week, so he can dispose of them that much more easily. Good angle, good start. Of course, we already know it'll be him, Architect, and Papa Swole, and the final number one contender is tonight, of course. 1,100 people. We break a record in attendance for our Kickoff Carnage shows. Good. Starting the show off, as we hopefully do not mean to go on, it's a 37 rating. Giant Brody with another absolute demolition job right here. Chokeslam finish to Bowden Snoop. Giant Brody gets the win, gets the crowd hotter. Bowden Snoop was off his game. He is, of course, very green. I know we have a lot of guys on the roster who are young, but we actually have a lot of young guys, obviously, but they aren't like super green, whereas the likes of Bowden, he is. So a 29 is to be expected. Brody pulls it back though, with a 47. He's still fairly new here, but good rating for him to keep the momentum, the unbeaten streak going strong for Giant Brody. Into a 58, very good tag match against two tag team competitors we haven't seen in a while. We haven't really seen Young and Wasted since their title shot against the past masters, and they come back strong, get the win. Pretty solid match, to be honest. Byron and Lachlan did okay. They're not really on good momentum, as we know, but it's a pretty straightforward win for Young and Wasted. The youngsters, solid ratings too. High 50s, low 60s, just what we want to see. Good stuff. Into another tag match, which is, of course, our Great Lakes champion, Tennessee, teaming with the Hispanic Heat, the son, of course, of Sean Gonzalez. It's Marco, and they're up against his number one contender to the Great Lakes, Hudson, and his Canadian brother, his counterpart, Ozzy Goldstein. Both, of course, familiar with ACPW, both residing in Canada. Heels on heels, can't really comment too much on it. Ozzy's getting better at his gimmick, which is huge. 54 rating. It goes pretty much as expected. Marco with another high 40, which is really good. He's getting slowly better. Ozzy and Hudson, 52, 62 for the champ. So yeah, this gets the job done, which of course is their last appearance before the match, and with obviously so much animosity between Hudson and Tennessee leading up to Beast in the Belly, this match ends in a draw when all hell essentially just breaks loose, mainly between, of course, Hudson and his blues musician rival partner, Tennessee. So yeah, match descending to chaos, ends as a draw, which of course will affect the rating. Probably would have been higher than a 54 if it wasn't for that, but good lead up, good segment right before we get into the Great Lakes Championship match next week. So good stuff. Then we have Papa Swole in an 88, by the way, unscripted, since that's what he prefers. My God, I honestly think I've gotten this because I've done more changes to the angle settings with making it character development as well as in being rated on character development, so on and so forth. I can't believe it. I can't believe I didn't. I've just never clicked those buttons this whole time, like an absolute amateur. Anyway, he's with Craig Prince, the boss, in the office, essentially asking, "Where's Blue Dragon?" And he's informed Blue Dragon's not here tonight. And then he kind of pauses and he says, "Hangman?" Kind of expecting him to say no, because of course Hangman's been going, not AWOL necessarily, but you know, 1 week he's here, the next week he isn't. Of course, he got involved with Papa Swole's number one contender match and he helped him win, but that was not the way for Papa. He did not want that to happen, so he was pissed. And the boss kind of looks at Papa Swole really confused and tells him, "You don't know?" And Papa Swole is just staring at him. And Craig Prince informs Papa that Hangman's fighting tonight for a number one contender last spot, the fourth spot for the World Heavyweight Championship title at Belly and the Beast. And Papa Swole's face obviously drops. He's shocked. He can't believe it. He didn't even know. Hangman never told him. But yep, tonight, the last number one contender spot is Hangman against Mutant. I obviously, for many obvious reasons, didn't make it the main event, but it's happening tonight. The winner takes the last spot in next week's main event. Huge rating. I think that's the best rating we've ever had. No surprise it comes from Papa though. Then we have a huge, solid match by arguably, well, not arguably, I was going to say arguably the best tag team, but definitely the best tag team. They got robbed in my eyes, you know. My goats, they got robbed of the tag team of the year award. And they pull us to a solid match. They get the win over DeMarcus and Gray with a Star Destroyer, 52 from Tyrone, 49 from Nate, which is pretty good considering their pop and stuff isn't amazing yet in their momentum. They're still building that up. It's 70 rated match. LA Stars get the win. What more can you say about the LA Stars? Always performing. Then we have arguably a match that would be huge if these guys were obviously moreover. Austin's back after his debut. One of his was it his debut or his second match with Logan? They paired up and won. I believe it was his debut. He actually tours in Japan right now, and it just happens to be on the exact same nights we run Kickoff Carnage. So I haven't actually been able to use him. It's not that I've not been booking him because I don't want to. I just haven't been able to. But he takes Tommy Cornell Jr. to a good match here. 63 rating. And it's Austin who gets the win over the youngster Tommy, getting more experience under his belt. Fighting someone with a skill set like Austin will be huge for him too. Getting in the ring and rubbing shoulders with him. Good match. Close match too. Tommy pulls in a 50, 60 for Austin. Good stuff. into a 57, which is kind of, it's not awkward, but it's kind of funny. One of the worst rated tag team matches of the whole night goes to the past masters or champions, but they're arguably against one of the weaker up and coming young teams too. We have a few of them. The champs get the win over hot tags when Sandman Winks submits Wolfie with a deep sleep after blatantly cheating. Surprise, surprise. It's another cheap win. Good ratings though for past masters. High 50s. Wolfie and Calder don't actually do too bad either, to be honest. 46, 40, 57 overall. Past masters get the win. Right before they'll be defending their belt, of course, against Minnesota Awesome. And speaking of Minnesota Awesome, the past masters essentially get played at their own game. And right after the match finishes, with the hoods up and the jumpers on, out from the crowd, come Minnesota Awesome, and they start attacking the past masters in the ring, beating them down. Because, of course, as we know, Clark and Perry, they're not faces, they don't play by the rules either. Just essentially like Young and Wasted don't play by the rules, but they got beaten to the punch when they were challenging the past masters for the belt, whereas on this occasion, Minnesota Awesome are not getting beat to the punch, and they essentially show a very good message here before they challenge for the tag team titles by beating up the past masters, something that almost never happens to any member of the Blueprint, because we have the sort of egomaniac Architect who's very stubborn and doesn't let anything go, even if it might seem like he does. So the fact that Minnesota Awesome's doing something like this is huge. It's a huge shock. 53 rating too, and they're definitely sending a message before Belly and the Beast. Into a 67. And well, oh well. In a bout that had great wrestling and good heat, Hangman defeats Mutant with a chokeslam. 67 rating. Creative finish was a success. And there we have it. What that means for Papa Swole and Hangman, who knows? But Ernest will be defending his belt next week against Hangman, his quote unquote buddy, Papa Swole, and surprise, surprise, the Architect. The two people who hate Architect the most, Hangman and Papa Swole, will be in that match, especially Hangman. He essentially hates Architect even more than Papa Swole, which has been driving him mad. He's been trying to work out why Papa Swole isn't on the same page as him when it comes to dealing with Architect, why he never wants to essentially attack him or beat any of the members to him when he has the chance. Architect has essentially done so much to Hangman from way back in PPW 1, Kickoff Carnage 1, from that first show that Hangman missed because he was stranded at the airport. He didn't get his luggage or something to those effects, and it turned out later that it was Architect that done that. And he drove Hangman to insanity, and Hangman changed, didn't he, from heel to face. And then later on, after Hangman won the belt, the tag team belt, his first title reign, it was Architect's doing that made him not only lose it, but then get injured. Well, get injured, sorry, and then he came back, won the belt, and then Architect injured him. Well, through Architect saying anyway, he got injured by Sasquatch. So Hangman has essentially got way more beef with Architect than anyone. And I think he's getting a bit annoyed that Papa Swole is trying not to hold a grudge and he's trying to move past it, whereas Hangman maybe is stuck in the past. So how that's going to affect their Belly and the Beast steel cage fatal 4-way match is there's a lot of questions, but huge shock. Huge shock. Good ratings. Your Mutant as well. 63. This is good. Oh, speaking of amazing blue rated segments, we have the Architect in a promo. He's in action tonight. He's up next, main eventing, and he's essentially getting himself over because we of course now know all 4 competitors in the main event next week. So Architect's essentially, he's laughing it up. He thinks it's hilarious. His biggest fan, Hangman, against one of his biggest haters, Papa Swole. If they think for 1 minute teaming up, in that fatal four-way is going to do them any justice. He's going to make sure he's going to rain hell down on both of them. They have no idea what's coming, which might be foreshadowing. Wink, wink. He says they have absolutely no idea the hell that he's going to bring in the plan. He's been adjusting, he's been calculating, waiting for this moment, knowing his title chance would come again. And he's been pulling out all the stops this month and last month to ensure that when that main event comes and that ring bell goes off to start that match, that they have no idea what's coming. 86 rating, so my god, he backs up on the rating segment. His hot catchphrase, of course, helping him. We're trying to get the most out of the hot catchphrase, so you might be seeing, as you have been this month, Architect in lots of promos, and that'll be the case going forward if it stays like this. And after a great promo, he backs it up with an amazing match that I know I say this all the time and I end up being wrong, but I'm pretty sure our highest rated match ever is either 58 or 78 or 79. It's one of the two. It's not higher though. So this, is it higher? I'm probably wrong, but one of the best matches we've ever done, with the two best segments we've ever done. So we're breaking down all the barriers, and it's the Architect gets the win over Tiger Jr. I have no idea how to pronounce his middle name, so I just never say it. So it would be like Tigre, I guess, if you were saying it like in Spanish. Tigre Salvaje Jr., I think. Which I think literally just translates to like a roaring lion or a menacing lion. I have no idea. I'm probably wrong. But anyway, huge match after a huge segment, putting all the momentum right behind Architect going into this. And obviously during the match we had the likes of Historian, his boys, who wouldn't be happy about getting beat up earlier in the show, but they were at ringside just to make sure everything went over just as expected. And my god, it did. Oh my god, this looks good. Yeah, so the show benefited from having a wide selection of angles because I actually figured out how to change the angle type. You guys probably don't even know what I'm talking about with the whole angle thing because it's probably so basic and so like in your face that how the hell could I not notice it? But I'm a little annoyed because the fact we got a 72 with all these penalties means we would have gotten like into the high 70s. What a show. The best show we've ever done. By far. I think this is actually the best show rating wise we've ever done too. Even with all these penalties. My god, what a show to have right before Belly and the Beast. But I have this episode has been quite long actually in terms of a Kickoff Carnage show. So I'm going to call it here. Well, not call the episode. I mean cut right now, and we'll be back for Belly and the Beast to end not only May, but end with a bang. Hopefully. No time wasting. No messing around. We're going straight into this. Wow, almost 2,000 people. Hopefully it hits 2,000. That'll be a new record. I think 1,700 was last month. Fingers crossed. We can hit 2,000. Belly and the Beast. Huge matches. Hudson Drake challenging Tennessee Williams for the Great Lakes belt. We got Tag Team of the Year. Minnesota Awesome against the Past Masters for tag team titles. And then we got the big one, the big mama, Papa Swole, his buddy Hangman, which is a bit of a surprise entrant, with long-term rival Architect and of course the champ Ernest Youngman, who seems unstoppable. You sort of got that very almost spoiled demeanour Ernest, where he doesn't really care. He doesn't really care about anyone or the promotion. He's only here because he's getting paid a lot of money to kick people in the face. We probably need... Oh, his character ID was a safe bet. What about Calder? Very risky. Okay, remove that because I'll end up using it. Oh, what's that? Architect. His very risky. No, you don't even need one anyway. Right, we need some creative finishes for this. The more the better, actually. Yeah. If I can get one for all my title matches, that would be good. A safe bet. That's okay. That's a good start. Likely to succeed. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Let's go one more. Come on, one more. Alright, fair enough. Okay. We actually, we might be able to have creative finishes on quite a lot of matches tonight. Hopefully I can inspire. I don't know if I can. I think it's longer than a month, the cooldown. Let's see. Oh, Freddie's passing on psychology tips to Lachlan. Okay, good stuff. Ellie Star 1 and Doc Funk created a fun and relaxed atmosphere. Okay. Taylor Norton gave the locker room a lift. Nice. Ozzy came to you backstage with an angle idea. Okay. Head trainer studies with some students. Jimmy Chipolata and Ant-Man apparently butted heads backstage. Okay, it's not great. Architect and Nate DeMarcus. I swear everyone gets on with the architect. We get this message so much for people getting on well and stuff. And architect, I swear, is always involved somehow. Right, address. Oh, we can inspire. We're going to do it. Beautiful. That's what I love to see. Right, let's do it. Belly of the beast. Let's book this motherfucker. Okay, here we go. 19,000 people. So still, I think 200. 200 more than last month's show. Huge. We're starting off strong. Finally, at long last, Papa Swole has some time. He's somehow finally got some time to talk to Hangman. For unscripted angle, this does good, considering Hangman is in it. And it's basically Hangman all excited to see Papa. And he's telling him, you know, I'm excited tonight, share the ring with you. We finally have a chance inside the chamber to get our hands on Architect for no one to stop us. You know, he's almost like a kid in a candy shop. And as he keeps going on and on, Papa Swole shouts and cuts him off and says, look, dude, I'm happy for you that you got in this match and you've got this opportunity. But it's not all about Architect. You know, Architect is living rent free in your head. And Hangman's expression sort of finishes. He doesn't look as happy anymore, and he's kind of just staring at Papa. And Papa says to him, you know, I've been trying to speak to you one on one for 1, maybe 2 months, and you're either never here, you turn up unannounced, you know, you don't even talk to Blue Dragon anymore. You're never wanting to team up with them anymore. You don't even want to pursue the idea of going back to the tag team titles that you lost unfairly, by the way. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know where your head's at. I don't know what you're doing. But tonight, Hangman, just stay out my way. You know, I'm not necessarily saying we're enemies out there, but if I have to win the title tonight, I want it to be on my terms, not because I got help or something happened. I want it to be on mine. So just leave me alone. I don't want your help. It's a fatal 4-way for a reason. So we need to respect it and, you know, fight with our hearts and may the best man win. And he puts his hand out to shake Hangman's hand, and sort of very, very slowly, almost unconvincingly, Hangman just nods and shakes his hand, and then Papa walks off. You can tell he's annoyed, he's frustrated with Hangman. His actions are confusing him and also annoying him, and he's starting to sort of kind of have enough. You know, he wants things to be fair. He's all about fair, he's all about kissing babies, you know, and waving at all the kids. He's all about doing the right thing. Great start. We got some good filler matches here tonight too. I'm hoping for some solid ratings. We start off with more of the lesser guys. We got Jimmy Chipolata taking the win for Team Faces. It's himself, Tommy Cornell Jr., and Kamikaze. They get the win over Ozzy, Remy, and who else? Josh, of course. Poor Josh. He's the one who gets pinned by Jimmy. 57 rating to start the show off with our first match. Gets the crowd hotter. Rating wise, we're looking pretty good here. Ozzy and Remy both with 53, 52 for Tommy Cornell. Jimmy is the main man here, the MVP, 58. Kamikaze just behind. Josh Jacobs, we're expecting to get the lowest. Good stuff though, good individual performances. Gets the crowd hotter, that's what we want. We want this crowd smoking hot tonight. We got 3 titles on the line back to back. Oh, great. Another creative finish success. That's what we like to see. 2 in a row. Huge match, as expected. We got the GOAT, one of the GOATs, Davis Wayne in here, and he beats Ant-Man, an up and coming, rising hot Ant-Man. Decent reaction from the crowd. Fisherman suplex, pinfall finish. 68 rating here for Davis, really good. Used his creative finish, which we had for him. Gets the crowd hotter again. Success on the finish. Ant-Man almost hits a 60. Good stuff all round. 74 match, moving into a 71 angle with the blueprint. Obviously things with the blueprint have essentially been died down. They've been almost keeping quiet, a little too quiet in the last month. And it's Ant-Man essentially, he seems almost worried a little bit. An architect saying, don't worry, this plan, we've been planning this for weeks. He says, go out there, stick to the game plan, and it'll be fine. So it seems almost like Sandman might be worried about his tag team titles being in jeopardy, fighting the Minnesota Awesome, who of course attacked them last week. They beat them clean earlier in the month too. So he's sensing a little bit of tension, which wouldn't be the first time, of course, with revolving around Sasquatch while he was still part of Blueprint. The butting of heads between Sandman and Architect seemed to be becoming a common thing, and then it really calmed down when Sasquatch got injured. But Architect's reassuring him, stick to the plan, we'll be fine. 71 rating, very good stuff. So I wonder what the plan could be. We'll find out very soon. We get another huge, oh my god, an 80 rated tag match. Taylor hits a 70, 77. Hold on, what the fuck? Hold on, what? That's our highest ever in-ring performance. LA Star 1 pulls in a 77. 71 from LA Star 2. 62 for Brett. And it's LA Stars who take the win. They won last week. Against DeMarcus and Gray. And they've won again this week against Young and Wasted, which must, shoot them up to the top of potentially being next in line to fight for the belts against whoever wins tonight. 80 rated segment. Huge match. Our best tag team match ever. Our best ever in-ring performance rating. To date, we're already breaking down the barriers. This is shaping up nicely. Tonight's event is pumped. Let's keep the party going. What's happening next? Oh, we got a classic. They're almost turning into classical moments. It's a Tennessee concert. He comes out, the champ, making his entrance before his match, which is coming up next against Hudson, and he's serenading the crowd as he does best. Luckily tonight, there's no smashed guitars, which seems to be a running theme for him. But we get a 77. The crowd is loving it. Even though they don't really love him, but, you can imagine his songs would be, if he's doing his own sort of parodies of blues songs and just straight up singing them. It's almost like the TEW Elvis, but he's better. He's so good. Tennessee. He's coming along really nice. He's fitting into his role as the Great Lakes champ real nice. Whenever we see him in a segment now, it's always a hit. 77 too. Huge. Best rating of the night so far. I believe so. Ooh, yuck. Never mind. I take everything back I just said. Any good thing I just said about Tennessee, I take it back. I think this is the worst match of the night so far. Hopefully that's not how it means to go on. The creative finish fails. But good wrestling, decent reaction. Tennessee Williams beats Hudson in a cage match. In 1748 by pinfall, Devil's Crossroad making defence number 4 of the Great Lakes champion title. This was a bit stinky. The creative finish probably really hindered it. It would have maybe hit to the 60s. Tennessee we know can do much better. Maybe he was off. Does he get penalised for inconsistency actually? Oh, he does. It must have had more of an effect tonight than usual. Does Hudson? he got penalised for stamina. All right. Oh, so did Tennessee. I never got the message that they would struggle, though. Maybe it was on the cusp. All right, fair enough. Maybe went a little bit too long. In a classic cage match, though, Tennessee Williams makes defence number 4. He's had some very strong competitors to defend his belt against so far, so these are 4 very solid title defences on his part. The match tonight, though, didn't quite go as planned, but it's another defence for Tennessee. We'll move on quickly here as we go straight into the tag team title match. 69 rating. In a bout that had superb wrestling and decent reaction, the Past Masters defeat Minnesota Awesome in also a cage match. This was an escape one though, rather than the modern. This is the classic, or is it the other way around? I can't remember. But Sandman Winks escapes the cage. During the match, we had Giant Brody run in and attack Smallbone and Longstaff. So, is it all but confirmed that after the Architect's little chat with Giant Brody, which was at the end of Ass Blast, I believe, at the Ass Blast event last month, he said that, we'll be in touch. I need a little favour. Could this be part of it, or could it be something bigger? Is Giant Brody joining the Blueprint, taking over from Sasquatch? Just the heavy hitter, the big muscle mover. Essentially, how this one goes down: Giant Brody comes out and he rips the cage door off the hinges, and that's essentially how Past Masters get out. They just walk out the cage door to escape and win. And as they come out, or just before they come out and Giant Brody goes into the ring, that's when he starts beating up the Minnesota Awesome with the Past Masters. And then when the Minnesota Awesome are basically down and out, that's when all 3 of them just walk out with these, pick up the belts, walk off laughing. And, well, Giant Brody's not laughing, he's very serious, but they sort of have a nice giggle to themselves. Very solid ratings though: 68, 66, 62, 63. Can't complain. With a huge twist with Giant Brody. Although the little pieces of foreshadowing that I've crumbed in the last month or two, maybe wouldn't have made it so much of a surprise, but we also get creative finish as a success. So this is huge. Great match. Defense number 3 for the Past Masters, but again, relying heavily on outside interference to get the job done. As it would be expected against someone to the likes of Minnesota Awesome. These guys are no joke. And it took the massive Goliath, Giant Brody, to help turn the tide. We then try something a little different. We do a video package basically hyping up the crowd, hyping up everyone of the main event match, which is coming up next. Only gets a 44, still good enough. Maybe it would have been nice to get it a little higher, but we were experimenting, so I won't complain. But it's time. Ladies and gents, it's the big one. Belly of the Beast. Heavyweight Championship. Ernest Youngman defending against Hangman, Papa Swole, and the Architect, who we all know they all have so much history. Please, I don't care if it doesn't get the best match, which it won't after looking at LA Star's match, but please, 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 for the love of God, can the creative finish just not be a failure? Please. Please. Okay. You know what? It did the job. It dragged at the end here because it was too long, because it was quite a long match for Steal the Show. So that was on me. That was the hit I was willing to take. But this actually is not looking too shabby. Papa Swole was really off his game. He actually got the worst rating in the match. 65 for Hangman, 74 for Ernest, 77 for Architect. Segment advances. Oh my god, I just realised I forgot again to end the tag team title storyline. Just ignore it. Don't think about it. Got the crowd buzzing. Creative finish was a success. Superb wrestling. Great heat. Ernest Youngman wins when Ernest pinned Papa Swole, following interference from, surprise, surprise, Giant Brody. The match was designed so that the wrestlers could go out and try and steal the show. Ernest Youngman makes defence number 4. Now, this was a chamber match, very, very similar to how the Elimination Chamber works in the WWE. The only difference being it wasn't timed entrances. Everyone started in the ring at the same time. But it's like a unique sort of shaped and styled cage match, essentially, that offers it's a higher prestige, is how it's viewed. Which will probably be the belly of the beast matchup going forward. Will there always be 4 people in the match? I don't know. There might be 3, there might be 5, like I don't know. Going forward, we'll tweak how we want to. But essentially the way this match goes is very similar to the tag team titles match. Giant Brody comes down, he rips open the cage door again, and when he jumps in the cage, Architect is pointing. He's pointing at Papa Swole because Papa Swole's in the middle of the ring. Get him, get him, get him. And they start beating up. He starts beating up Papa Swole because Papa Swole's tired. He's been fighting for 25 minutes. But pretty much the whole match, Hangman has been a little bit obsessed with fighting Architect. It's going to be his thing. Architect's not even really been able to get going in the match because he's been getting suffocated by Hangman the whole time. And Hangman's Hangman's not even pretty much touched Papa Swole the whole game. They haven't touched each other. They've avoided each other. And he's hardly even went for the champion, Ernest. It's almost like he doesn't even care. Hangman doesn't even care that it's a title match. He just wants to kill Architect. So even when Giant Brody starts attacking Papa Swole, he's destroying him, essentially. Architect, who's been getting beaten up all match by Hangman essentially is done now. He's done with Architect. Architect's done in. Basically, he's been beaten up all game by Hangman. Hangman then turns and sees Papa Swole getting stood over by Giant Brody. But rather than helping, maybe something to do with the fact Papa Swole was shouting at Hangman before the game, rather than helping Papa Swole, Hangman just stands and he's watching. He watches for maybe 10-20 seconds while Architect's he's unconscious basically in the corner. And Ernest is nowhere to be seen. And then maybe in a fit of rage, Hangman, I think, is expecting he can jump in the ring and just absolutely run through Giant Brody just like he did that time to Sasquatch. He was the first person to ever beat Sasquatch clean. So he's looking at Giant Brody thinking, get out of my way now, you're in the way now, get out of the ring. So he jumps in the ring, but my God, is he mistaken. He gets picked up and chucked right back out the ring by Giant Brody. But as Giant Brody goes to then turn, Hangman starts standing up, which really obviously annoys Giant Brody. He sees rage just like Hangman a little bit. So he then jumps out the ring to start fighting Hangman, and they're going at it. They're still in the chamber, but they're outside the ring, fighting next to where Architect's lying on the floor, just not really paying attention. But while they're too busy going at it, Ernest gets back in the ring and just pins Papa, who's out cold, and gets the win to win his belt back. So the whole show essentially ends in chaos with Papa. He's unconscious. He's just got pinned by Ernest. Ernest rolls out the cage because the cage door's open now, gets his title, and he's laughing. He doesn't know what to think. He's going back up the ramp while all chaos is broken in the ring with Hangman and Papa Swole. And they do have to get separated, but Hangman's essentially getting beat up by Giant Brody. So whether that was the whole plan all along, for Architect, the huge shock factor alone of having Giant Brody in his corner is going to sway the tide, because it's very evident, even at these early stages, that Giant Brody is a much, much bigger threat than what Sasquatch was. He's way stronger, he's way smarter, in some ways, in terms of being able to beat people up, Hangman, when he sees a fit of rage, could run right through Sasquatch. He did it when he beat him, and then he did it again when he injured him for over a year. But it seems obvious that he's not going to be able to do that to Giant Brody. Good show, 66. You know what? For what it's worth, overall this went pretty good. These matches were pretty solid. Bit of a shame on our title matches though. They were the weak links I'm really glad Ernest finally pulled in a rating above 70. If I'm honest, that was starting to get a little bit scary, a little bit annoying. It taking him that long. We're going to give this to. I mean, it's got to go to these boys, hasn't it? Really. Ellie Star 1 and 2. Who else done? You know what? Hangman actually did really good considering he was hanging with the big dogs. A 65 was not bad at all. Honestly, I think we'll just give it to him. We'll point him on a good performance, a great performance. Why not? And you guys can get told you're awesome. Give him a hug. Why not? Huge. We make 16,000 as well, only paying out 6,000 in workers. I think we actually used more money on workers on the last Kickoff Carnage show of the month. 19,000 in ticket sales though. Huge. It'll be interesting to see how much money we made this month with the Alliance, but of course we'll do like a show recap, we'll do the finances, creative, merchandise, all of that kind of thing at the start of next episode. Sorry. Popularity, there's pretty much almost nothing left in terms of our popularity cap for the month to go up. So we're pretty much sucking it dry. But I hope you guys enjoyed recapping the month of May. Next month we have another pretty good, pretty unique pay-per-view to end the month, which I think will tie in well to all these little rivalries that we got going on. We'll also be able to find out next month what's going on with Giant Brody. Is he in the blueprint? Is he not? Did the plan the blueprint had even go to plan? We'll find out more with Hangman, why he didn't necessarily help Papa Swole when he was getting beaten up to a pulp. Yeah, lots more to go over. But all three champions remain the same. But until next time, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought, and I'll see you next time.